I'm Carol Celine, talking with otolaryngologist Dr. David Cognetti. You are a head and neck surgeon. Now, what kinds of problems do you primarily treat?
Primarily, I treat cancers of the head and neck. And so that can mean cancers of the mouth and throat and tongue, or even cancers of the thyroid and salivary glands.
So you can do big surgeries, little surgeries, everything in between.
True. They can be very big as to taking off somebody's jawbone or taking out a voice box, to very small as to using a laser to remove very small cancers from the vocal cords.
Are there some cutting-edge techniques that you're using today?
There are. Probably the most cutting edge is the Da Vinci robot. The robot was FDA approved for surgery through the mouth in 2009, and it's really opened up many avenues on tumors that we can approach that way.
So in other words, before you would have to make a large incision, and now you can just go right through and around the corner and get to things you couldn't get to before?
That's a great way of describing it. The back of the mouth, the throat, or tumors behind the throat are very difficult to get through to because the jawbone's in the way, and you can't see as well and work around the tongue and the corners. So in the past, we'd have to literally divide the jawbone to move it out of the way to get to some of these tumors, whereas now we have a better way of seeing them and removing them because we could see and work around the corners.
So this has been a tremendous advancement, I assume, for patients.
It has been. Yeah. It has been.
And do your patients also get treated with chemo and radiation?
Of course. So we do have a lot of chemotherapy and radiation in head and neck cancer by the nature of the cancer. Prior to transoral robotic surgery, we probably treated some of these patients primarily with just radiation and chemotherapy, and the robot has allowed us to tackle these tumors surgically and decrease the need for both of those.
Oh, well, that's great. So the side effects in chemo and radiation can be avoided sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. What do you see on the horizon in your field?
Well, I think as we go forward, technologies like this will become more specific to the head and neck. So the robot, for example, was not originally designed to be used in this manner. Was mostly used in the abdomen and for the prostate, and so the instruments aren't really quite fine-tuned as well as they could be. So in the future, I think the cameras will get smaller, the instruments will get smaller, and we'll have more access without bigger surgeries.
You were telling me about something you do with a camera that's about 1 millimeter wide. What was that surgery?
So that's a perfect example of where technology is advancing. We have a camera that's only 1 millimeter in size that can fit into the salivary ducts. So when your salivary gland has a stone or an obstruction in it, in the past, you'd often have to have the entire gland taken out. But that's the same as throwing out your sink when you have a clog in your drain. You wouldn't want to do that. So we have a small camera that can go in and help you take out the stones and release the clog.
Oh, remarkable. Thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome.